My name is Coron Brinson. I'm currently a 7th grade English language arts teacher here in Oakland. My connection to Black education in Oakland began as a parent organizer, where I was organizing Black families to become engaged with their local school board members in order to begin to write their own narratives about what's happening to their school sites, instead of the narrative being written for them. And then after doing that work for a year, I decided to go back into the classroom as a teacher. So I've had 2 years of teaching 2nd grade, and this is my first year of teaching English language arts. My best memory as a Black educator is seeing the Black faces in my classroom, building great relationships with my students, having my students to be able to come to me and talk about things that are happening in their personal lives, and also being able to engage with the Black parents also around troubleshooting any type of behaviors that may be happening in the classroom or at home, and being able to provide some resources, educational resources, as well as other resources in the community. The state of Black education for Black educators is, for me, like very dismal. What's happening is that Black educators in Oakland are put into low-performing schools and are asked to increase test scores for students without the support, without the nurturing that we need as teachers in order to grow. And then after a year of those numbers not happening and that growth not happening, then we are disposed of within those schools. Oftentimes when I go in for interviews, principals are happy to see a Black male who is coming into the interview process. They want our presence into the school and also within the classroom. But once we get there, they just want a Black body there, just so they can say that, oh yeah, we do have a Black male teacher in this classroom and in this school, but they don't want everything else that comes with it. For Black students, I feel that, Black students are also, it's dismal. A lot of the teachers in the school don't see the potential, the talents, the strengths that Black students have. Black students are disproportionately suspended, kicked out of the schools, pushed into special education programs. Black students a lot of times in Oakland are seen as useless. And then when you're looking at some of the charter school systems that are in Oakland, they are predominantly Latino. And so the Black students that are in those schools don't have a voice, don't see themselves in a curriculum, don't have any allies who are there to be a positive role model, don't have anyone they can go to and talk to. And so, Black educators and Black students are put in the same pool of not getting that support, not getting the love, not getting the nurturing that they need. Yeah, with Black families, I've had a chance to really do some work at my former school with engaging Black families, along with getting our local school board member to come engage with us, because oftentimes Black families have the narrative written for them, and they don't have a chance to be a part of that narrative process. So I've had a chance to engage parents, 2 meetings with 50+ parents being there, and oftentimes Black parents are looked at as from a negative perspective instead of honing in on the beautiful skills that they bring, and also understanding some of the scheduling issues that may come up with Black parents, and not asking them, what is a good time for us to engage? When should we have these meetings? Is there a good day for us to have them, right? And having different options on when those meetings can be attended is something that, really I'm looking to do, and I think parents need to be a part of that process. And also creating a space where there's a celebratory, space for parents and their kids to come in, instead of it being a negative parent-teacher conference. Having an award ceremony quarterly to award those students who are doing well that quarter in their content area classes, having a banquet celebrating the African American students that are in that school. Some of those things that that we don't see happening in schools in order to engage those Black families? I think for me, like first off, like any type of grade, level meetings that I'm having with other teachers, making sure that they're keeping a growth mindset when they're talking about Black students, right? And also, looking for alternative ways of working with Black students and understanding all of the great traits and talents that they bring to the classroom. And also, it's all about relationship building. Like, what do you know about this child outside of the academic setting? When you're at recess or PE, are you having conversations with them, asking about their interests, their hobbies as well, and also being able to go out on the extra limb. If you know that student is doing extracurricular activities on the weekend, if it's a karate, set that they're having, basketball game, football game, going out and engaging with that student outside the classroom setting has been something I've encouraged a lot of my other teachers and colleagues to do around relationship building. Also bringing in other family members. Like if it's the mom and dad who are not the ones who are getting to that child, what about do they have a favorite uncle, a favorite auntie that they can talk to, who you can bring in to talk to them as a thought partner as well? But just seeing the child as a whole and not just a piece of the child, being able to have those conversations around what is happening with that child and building that relationship has been something that I've been an advocate for. And also bringing in, Black female mentors into the school, Black male mentors into the school has also been one thing I've been advocating, just so they can see those positive role models that they may not see at home or actually may not even, see within their school setting. And just checking in with those students, and seeing how they're doing, and just taking to build those relationships with them have been some of the ways I've advocated for Black children in our school. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of loops and hurdles you have to jump in order to be a teacher. You may have the bachelor's degree, but there's all of these tests that you have to take for the state of California to get you certified. Then there's all these other programs, a 2-year probationary period that you have to also, jump over in order to be fully certified. Me being a new teacher in a new state, it was very difficult for me. I didn't know which certification test I needed to take. The district that being a part of OUSD, there was no one at OUSD when I got hired and signed my paperwork to say that, hey, this is a program that you need to be a part of. These are the tests that you need to take. There was no one who did that for me at all. And when someone did decide to let me know, I didn't find out until March that I was supposed to be a part of an induction program that all first-year teachers in the state of California must be a part of. And so I felt like I really not wasted my time, but in a sense, I did waste my time. If I would have been told this back in August when I signed my contract, I could have already been a part of that program and almost finishing up the first year of my program, but I'm learning about that in March. So all this time has been wasted, right? And then also there's a coaching aspect that happens. For me, I had 4 years of previous teaching experience, but I took a 5-year hiatus from the classroom and started doing some other things professionally. And so when I came back into the classroom, I wanted that nurturing, I wanted that coaching, I wanted that feedback. I didn't get that. I didn't get that at all. And so all I was getting when folks were coming into my classroom was that, hey, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that correct. There was no one to say, hey, try this out, try this strategy out. Let me come in and co-teach with you and show you how this strategy can be implemented. None of those things were happening to me. I was just told about all of the bad things that were happening, but there was no one there to mentor me, to coach me, and to tell me how this can be done. And I think that's one of the drawbacks of being a teacher, is that they want all of these huge results from folks. They want all of these magical things to happen. And you being a Black body, they're just automatically, thinking that these things are going to happen. But we needed support. Where is the support? We're already not going and getting the compensation as teachers, right? And me starting with OUSD, when I first started with the district, I had to go nearly 2 months without a paycheck. How am I supposed to survive with being in the classroom, dealing with everything I'm dealing with, being in an expensive area, the most expensive area of the country, in the Bay Area now. And now you told me, I'm thinking I'm getting my paycheck after a month of working. You tell me, no, I'm gonna have to wait another month for a paycheck, and nobody has answers for me. Who wants to be a teacher in Oakland when those are the type of systems and things that are happening? They are not making it easier for no one to want to become a teacher in Oakland because the support systems are not in place for you to succeed. And then once you're part of this system for 2 years, they want to kick you out and say that you're not valuable in this system, right? Even though you've done a great job of nurturing your students, making sure your students are growing academically, engaging parents to come out to parent meetings that are happening, whereas before you guys were having 5 or 6 parents, and now I'm able to get 50 parents to come out because they see the support, they see the dedication, they see the love that I have for their children and for this school. But OUSD is saying, okay, well, we don't want your services anymore. And when they're doing that, they're not telling you why. They're just saying, okay, we don't want you anymore. Go do your thing. So, I mean, it's the lack of respect that the district has for teachers, right? There's this support that's happening, right? And then even for the union, OEA is not doing enough to support teachers either. I think that OEA, they do a great job of organizing teachers, right? But where's the support when it comes to instructional practices? That's what I think that the union needs to focus on. And right when I was, leaving the district, I was a part of OEA, of course. That's one of the main platforms that I was really pushing, is for them to concentrate more on the instructional practices and improving, the teacher strategies and the planning for teachers to be successful in the classroom. So one of the things that I really think that needs to happen is there needs to be more of a learning community that's created amongst, who cares if it's district, who cares if it's charter, among teaching community in Oakland needs to happen so that we are supporting each other. We're not in silos, we're not dying in our classrooms, and we're not being burnt out after 2 or 3 years in this profession, and that we feel like we're supported and we have someone that we can go to be able to make our instructional practices a lot stronger than what they are.
Coron for president.
Thank you. I mean, I think that some of the great things that are inspiring about, the state of Black education in Oakland as it pertains to Black educators is, as I was talking about, creating this learning community around where I'm able to plan with other 7th grade English language arts teachers. No matter if you're your district, if you're charter, if you're a private school, independent school, but us creating this type of environment where teachers are able to sit down and, pump out some lesson plans, really, look at some student work, being able to, value some of those misconceptions, look at those trends, and being able to go back in the classroom and make those adjustments so our students are mastering the content areas that we're teaching. The other great thing is the Black Teacher Project. This is our 2nd year being in Oakland, in the Bay Area, and this is creating a safe space for Black teachers in an affinity space to come together, to rejuvenate, to sustain, right? And also for us to focus on recruiting more Black teachers into the Bay Area, and also being able to retain those Black teachers that are here in the Bay Area. And some of the programming that we've been doing a lot of wellness and sustainability around mindfulness, around yoga, around taking hikes. Also being able to bring teachers from San Francisco, Alameda, Oakland, Richmond, so all throughout the Bay, even as far as Vallejo, bringing in Black teachers and having a community where we can come together as one and be able to share this space that we have, being able to vent, but also come up with solutions around some of the things that we're seeing within our classrooms, within our school. Because we understand that sometimes it is very isolating as teachers altogether, but being a Black educator in some of these schools, believe me, can be very frustrating. And so we need that venting space. So one of the things that the Black Teacher Project for this year is focusing on is building that instructional practices, strengthening that instructional practices. So we have our Black Teacher Project Fellowship, and within that fellowship, we're already scheduling out times we can go out and observe each other in the classroom, looking at, classroom management strategies, looking at, how we're able to transition from one lesson to another, looking at the type of assessments, the formal and informal assessments that we want to begin to collect that data for our students so we can see truly if those students are mastering those, the content areas that we're teaching. So having that space for us to just come together, and sometimes too having happy hours where we just blow out some steam and just be able to enjoy each other, and just say the things that we may not be able to say around others, and creating that safe space for us to grow as educators and for us to encourage each other. You know what? I'm having a bad day too. Here's some things that I've done, right? So Black Teacher Project is really something that we've seen a lot of Black teachers being able to be supportive throughout the Bay Area, and also, shifting to more of that instructional support that we need. The sustainability and wellness, we've done a really good job of creating that community, building up our membership base for the past 2 years. But now we're about to really start and digging into that work, because we understand that these spaces are needed in a toxic environment. So being able to have that community and continue to build that community is something very positive, and I'm really looking forward to creating and sustaining and retaining and recruiting more Black teachers in Oakland and throughout the Bay Area. My name is Coron Brinson, and this has been the SOBEO Narrative Series.